عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. All right, we are here at 8 at 8. This is your brother Ahmad Saleem coming live from Milton, Ontario. Those of you who don't know where Milton is, it's very close to Toronto. So you can technically say Toronto, Ontario if you wanted. All right, so today's topic is something very important. And a lot of times I'm getting a lot of feedback from parents, their concerns. They're really like worried about their child not praying. And the concern is genuine. It's a really genuine concern. Like, you know, the fact that you are concerned about your child's akhirah is a really good thing. Like, don't get me wrong. It's an amazing thing to have. But what do we do? What do we do in a situation when your child is praying? You've asked your child to pray, and you know for a fact that the child is not praying. So you know definitely that he is not praying. He is skipping his prayers. What do you do as a parent? Do I call him out? Do I, like, all of these questions come up. So before we do that, I wanted to have, I want to give parents a perspective. And if you look at this from a perspective, like, once you understand this, you're going to be like, okay, it makes a lot of sense, and figuring out where we went wrong. So at what age are we required in Islam to command our children to pray? What is the age that we're required to do that? It is the age 7. So you're commanding your children. Wa alaikum assalam, Huma, how are you? So you're commanding your children at the age of 7 to tell them to pray. Now, I want you to do the math with me here 1 second. Let me just do this. All right, how do I do this? Window, there we go. Calculator, math. All right, now you see my calculator. All right, so at the age of 7, we are commanded at the age of 7, we are commanded to tell our children that they should pray. Okay, and at the age of 10 is where religion allows you to فَضْرِبُوهُمْ الْعَشْرِ, that you can use some physical reprimandation techniques. I don't mean you take off your belt and start whooping your child, but you can use some sort of physical contact with your child to make him realize, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Yeah, we did it in the keys of risk. Good. That's good. So, you know, we talked about it. Now, if we do the math, the 7th year, so year number 7, 8, 9, as soon as he becomes the age of 10. So that is 3 years. That means 3 times 365. That is 1,995 times. Okay. So that's the number of days that you are required to give a reminder to your child from the time he becomes the age of 7 until he becomes the age of 10. 1,095 days, and you're supposed to remind him for 5 times. You're supposed to remind him 5 times. That means that before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you as a parent the permission to even lay a finger on your child for salah, that's the only exemption that you have. You have to command your child for more than 5,500 times roughly before you're allowed to even lay a hand on your child. Let that sink in for a second. It's not as simple as we sometimes make it seem. Like, you know, oh yeah, I told my child it's okay. You know, he should why is he not listening? Well, my question to the parents is, did you remind your child 5,475 times? Did you tell him to give that, to pray salah 5,500, 5,500 times? And the answer is no, we did not. So first, the blame is on the parent, right? If we did not follow the formula that was given to us. Now, having said that, now your child is a teenager, you can't do anything about it. The child is not praying. Now, does it help if you go in there and you force your child, you force him to pray? Does that help? It doesn't help, because you're going to wake up your child and you're going to say, get up and pray. And who do you think that child is praying for? Who do you think he's going to be praying for? Is he praying for you? Is he praying for Allah? 99% of the time, he's just praying for you, so you can be off her or his back, and they don't want to be bothered. All right, so that's a problem, because you don't want your child to be praying for you, because the minute you're gone, the child is not going to pray. And that is what I get from parents. It's like, agar main nahi kehti, to padhta hi nahi hai. Like, if I don't tell him, the person is not even going to pray. Well, exactly, because he's not praying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's praying for you. He's not praying for Allah. So if you want your child to start praying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's different techniques you're going to have to try, but definitely forcing your child to pray is not one. The only thing you're doing is you are getting, so you're absolving him of that sin of missing the salah, which is a good thing. But while you tell him to pray, you have to do some other things simultaneously to fix this issue. And what do we do? So I generally tell parents there are 3 primary things that you can focus on. Okay, number 1, how is your prayer? How is your salah? Do you miss your fajrs? Are you spot on when it comes to your prayers, or you have a long way to go? Because if the child does not see the role modeling and the importance of salah in your life, agar aap cricket dekh rahe hain baith ke aur aap apne bacche ko keh rahe hain, you're telling your child, beta, you should go and pray, right? And you're watching, nahi bas 1 second ye khatam ho jaye, let this match finish, right? What role modeling are you doing? And then you come to Maulvi Sahab or Maulana Sahab, it's like, Maulana Sahab, my son does not pray. Oh, duh, like, because you don't pray too, right? Like blame's on you. You're not role modeling anything better for him. So how do you expect your child? You have not commanded your child 5,500 times to pray. How do you expect him to focus on you? It's not going to work. So how do you expect him to focus on salah? You yourself have not been the role model. So first thing, you become the role model for the child. So he gets inspired by you because he has the most amount of contact with you. Number 2, you have to get him enrolled in activities where you can find individuals that, like young people, that are genuinely inspired by prayer. So he's in the company of the right individuals. Do not ever make the mistake of rebuking his friends, right? Don't ever say, tumhare dost, your friends, this friend of yours, Mike or Nabil, this is so, like, this Nabil, I will make sure that he gets out of your life. That's what happens when you try to take Nabil out of that person's life, or Humaira out of, all of if you try to take any of these 2 names, by the way, there are 2 individuals I know and they're married, but subhanAllah, but that's how they came. I said Nabil and then the word Humaira came to my head. But if you try to take Humaira or Aisha out of your daughter's life, guess what's going to happen? She's going to leave. She's going to pretend Humaira is not in his life, Aisha is not in life, Fatima is not in his life, but she's still going to meet. Because the real question you need to ask as a parent is, what is a need that is being fulfilled by Humaira or Aisha or Fatima? What need of your child are they fulfilling? And try to identify that need and try to find a better alternative for that, so that the child is inspired. So it should be very subtle. It shouldn't be very obvious. So number 1, you become the role model. Number 2, you find right type of company for him. And if you expose him long enough to the right type of company, then our general nature is that we'll be inclined towards that. You'll have to think of creative ways to incentivize all of this. And lastly, the 3rd point, and I'll end with this, is remember that the guidance, truly, sincerely praying for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you cannot force your children to do that. It comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who can give you, your child, that ability, who can give your child that sense, that nurturing, that the child actually wants to pray all the time. It's only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who can do that. So you seek help from who? You seek help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in that. And last, I'll tell you 3 things you should never do. Okay, 3 things you're doing, 3 things you should never do with your child. Never ever question if they tell you that they have prayed. Don't question your child, even if you know for a fact that they didn't pray. Don't question him, because what's going to happen is he is going to become a perpetual liar, and the reason for him becoming a liar is going to be you. and you pushing your child constantly and asking him and making him uncomfortable, he's going to say, ha ha, parli. Ah, I prayed. And you know he didn't. Oh, tumne padhi to nahi, you didn't pray. And then you go and you check the sink. And, I have had parents call me. He's like, I checked the sink and the sink was dry. I know that she did not make wudu. I know that he did not do wudu. I'm like, yeah, Habibi, you're going to get crazy like this. You have to start trusting the child, right? Even if they're lying, trust. The child needs to feel that my parents love me selflessly. Why do you think they're trying to hide? Why do you think they're trying to hide this prayer from you? Because they don't trust you. They don't want, because what's going to happen is the child is going to come down and he's going to pray. And then you're going to be like, ye kaisi namaz hoti hai? What type of prayer is this? What type, why did you read so fast? Repeat your prayer again. Like, we don't, even if the child comes down, he's going to hear 10 things about you, from you about his salah. So he does not want to even do that in publicly. So number one, never humiliate and question your child when they say, I've prayed. Number two, very important, cleanse your heart. Cleanse your heart of any doubt. Don't doubt your child ever. Don't start, this is the lowest level of iman that we have reached, where you as a parent, you start questioning your own child. Ajib. Do not do that. Remove all forms of doubt from your heart. Don't doubt your child a bit. The child should feel selfless love. And number three, do not investigate. Don't become those helicopter parents. Do not go around sitting in the parking lot. Like a mother once called and she's like, oh, I know because I was sitting in the parking lot and I saw my daughter, she came out of the school, usne hijab nahi pehna tha, she was not wearing hijab, and then she went here and yeah, Habibi, please do me a favor, right? Focus on your ibadah. But now your daughter is a teenager, she is 15, 14, she is fully responsible. You need to have conversations with her about taking the responsibility that Allah has placed on her. Do not become investigative parents, because that shatters all the trust foundation with your child. And lastly, I will leave you with this tip, which is very important for us, all of us. Love your child selflessly. Even if they become, unfortunately, if they go off track. I'm dealing with a current situation where a child has a lot of doubts and he might leave Islam. I told the parents, though, all he wants from you is unconditional love. But if you leave Islam or you stay in Islam, I'm going to love you unconditionally, because that is one thing you can do that will ensure that he will always come back to you. But the minute you drop your unconditional love for the child, you're gone. You've lost him. You've lost your child completely. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Abdul Rahman. So, Jazakallah khair. I know it's a little bit of a long topic, but I have received a lot of comments and questions in the past, I would say, a week. Ever since we're going to the lockdown, people are losing it. And I just thought that, parents, don't lose it on your children. Love them, take care of them, and everything is going to turn around. And make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because only He can change your heart and make you a role model for them. And He can change their heart and they can start practicing, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.